Kris Marsh received her PhD from the University of Southern California in 2005. She is currently an associate professor of sociology at the University of Maryland and affiliate faculty of the Maryland Population Research Center, Department of Women's Studies, and African American Studies Department. Professor Marsh's general areas of expertise are the Black middle class, demography, racial residential segregation, and education. She has combined these interests to develop a research agenda.
I would love to see us go to a race-free America, but we're not there yet. What I'd like to see is a race-fair America. So you're not penalized for being of a certain racial and ethnic group. So that's what I would probably add to the discussion.
Hey everybody, my name is Brianna Dance and welcome back to the Power of Care channel. Today I have a special guest, Dr. Kris Marsh. Woo! Welcome, Dr. Marsh.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
We are kind of slowly reopening, but as you know, COVID kind of had its way for a while. And now we're having another pandemic, which has always been around, which is the racial issues with African Americans, with Black people. And so how have you been doing during this time? Just a check-in, bonus check-in.
So when COVID first happened, I was like, okay, we're only going to be in the house for a couple days. So I didn't take this thing seriously. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to eat a whole bunch of chips and kettle corn and popcorn. And then I was like, okay, we might be in this thing for a little bit longer. Let me get, it was all fun and games at first though, right? We're like, woohoo, I don't have to go to work. So it was great. It got real serious real quick. It's like, wait, hold on, what? Right. So one of the things that was really important to me is I wanted to make sure that I invest in myself during this time, because we get so busy, we fill up our calendars and we don't take care of ourselves and we don't invest in ourselves. The most important way that I could invest in myself was to strengthen my spiritual man. I was like, if I don't do that, everything else is going to be out of line. So there's three things I wanted to do. I wanted to invest in myself spiritually, I wanted to invest in myself financially, and I wanted to invest in myself sociologically. So for the spiritual part, what I decided to do was that I decided that I was going to start writing in a journal. So I used to have a journal and I would write on occasion. When I felt like it. And, and it'd be very short entry, like, gosh, I have so many blessings. Thank you, Lord. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. After work, I go. And so I was like, I want to really have like a substantive entry, because these are tumultuous times. These are unprecedented times. I want to be able to look back 5 years from now and see who I was and how I grew. So to just say, thank you for my blessings, have a great day, that's not going to get me where I want to go, right? So for me, I wrote a letter to the Lord. Not everybody's a believer, and that's perfectly fine if you don't believe, and maybe the concept of God is an abstract idea to you. So I was telling people, if you don't want to write a letter to God or to your higher source, your higher being, write a letter to your 12-year-old self. You can lie to everybody else, but you should not lie to yourself. And if you don't want your earlier self to make the bad decisions that you make now, one, you have to acknowledge them, and then tell your 12-year-old self what you would have done differently. So writing a letter to your 12-year-old self is very telling. And if you go sit here and lie to your 12-year-old self, you miss the entire point. You miss the entire point. You can't be sincere with yourself. And that's hard for people. And I did an interview with another lady a little while ago. And I was saying, during this time, we have to be comfortable in our uncomfortableness. That's really important. It is so easy to get easily distracted and be like, oh, I don't want to sit with these thoughts, so I'm going to go and make myself some breakfast. I don't want to sit with these thoughts, so I'm going to go to a Zoom workout class with Darrell, which I have not been to in a while, but I'm coming back. But
back, Darrell.
We're going to be back, Darrell. We coming. Or you can go decide you're going to exercise, you're going to go play a sport or something like that. But people don't want to sit with themselves. Turning off the TV, turning off the radio, putting your cell phone in the drawer and just sitting with that silence. If you can't sit with yourself, you definitely should not be in a relationship with anybody else. If you can't sit with you, let me tell you who can sit with themselves and gladly and loves her time sitting with herself. So the first part was the spirit, so I'm there with you. And I also make sure that I try to go outside. So I go outside in the morning, spend my time journaling in the morning outside. It feels really, really good.
And Dr. Marsh, do you find that now it's becoming easier or like more enjoyable? It doesn't seem like a task? or does
Journaling?
it feel like a task? Yeah, journaling.
No, it never felt like a task. I just didn't make time for it. I just decided I was like, I decided busy. And again, for me, the most important thing for this conversation is that this is kind of telling you how I am dealing with COVID. As long as we get on the other side of this, that's what's most important. Some people, as long as we survive it, right? This is what happens for Kris Marsh. This may resonate with some people. It may not resonate with anybody, but I don't want anybody to hang up from here and think, oh my gosh, if I'm not doing this, I'm not progressing. I'm not moving forward. Move it. The fact that you are on the other side of COVID, you've moved forward. But for some people that want to think about some things and think about how they might be able to improve themselves, that's kind of for them. So for me, I knew I had distractions. My time, I made time in my day for everything but me. So I put myself first now, and it is fabulous.
How's it feel?
It feels so incredibly good. So it's like my spiritual man is in place.
Yeah.
Right? So now that my spiritual man is in place, everything else is just in line, and everything else just makes sense, and it feels really, really good. When you have that kind of out of alignment, like with your car, right? Tires, your steering will be shaking, right? Can't get up over 80 if you want to, I said I speed. I was like, things starting to fall apart at 80. Now I'm like, I can coast at 120. That thing is looking good at 120. That thing is smooth at 120. That thing is on cruise control at 130 because I now know who is driving the car.
Woo!
My busy schedule, my distractions, and me not focusing on myself was what was driving the car before. Right? But now I have God, my spiritual man, and my self-care driving the car. This thing is on cruise control.
You can do anything.
It's really, really good. Second thing is like economically. I wanted to invest in myself economically. And I was saying in another interview that, I always wanted to be a part of like the stock market. I've been in conversations where I'm like, okay, what y'all talking about? Stop. I don't have a clue what you talking about. So I was like, guess what Kris Marsh did do? I was like, I'm getting ready to sit down. I have the time, right? So I'm going to sit down and figure out the stock market. So now if I'm in a conversation with anybody, I know enough to hold my own in a conversation. And so it was an area that I knew nothing about, but I really wanted to invest in me. And because I wanted to invest in me, I did that. And I'm so excited about that. And some other like investment moves, like economically, I'm super excited about too. And I ain't saying I done made a whole bunch of money, but I am saying that I know the process.
Right.
I'm in the game. I am in the game. And I even know I can kind of give you some options on some stocks you should be considering. I'm like, yeah. So I was like, look at me. Yeah. So I'm super excited about that because it was something that I was afraid of. And I purposely didn't make time to engage in it. And I'm like, I addressed my fear. I sat with my fear. I overcame my fear. And it's now like something that I do every morning. I'm like, 9:30, let me check my stocks. You would think I had a $10 million portfolio, but that's not the point. The point is I wanted to do something. And then sociologically, the moment that we're in right now is so incredibly important. I've done implicit bias training and other trainings with Prince George's County Police Department. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it is.
For a whole nother video. Okay. But here's what's really, really interesting about this sociological moment that we're in. You have a lot of people that are talking about the police department, what they should do. Like, what? Again, there's a spectrum. Right? So some people are saying you need to fund police, we need to abolish them altogether. Some people are saying we need to work with them, I'm not judging anybody where you are in the curriculum. I'm not. I'm on the spectrum. But here's one thing I want us to think about in a critical kind of way. We're talking about police officers, and we're talking about how police officers are killing Black bodies, men and women. Yes. Okay, I'm going to say that again and pause for effect. Black men as well as Black women. Okay. Police officers are killing Black bodies. There's a whole bunch of suggestions what they should do. Two suggestions I think might make sense. Is one, you should have an oversight committee that deals with complaints for officers. If you decide to keep the officers, but it should be ran by officers and citizens. So let's role play this for a second. So you're an officer, I'm a citizen. You use excessive force. I go to the police department to file a complaint against you. I give that complaint to one of your colleagues. One of your colleagues comes and investigate my complaint. Then your colleague writes a complaint report back to the police department. Any complaint should be investigated by a citizen and a police officer, because they were the two that were involved in the interaction. Why is only one side investigated and not the other side? Yeah. The other thing that I think is a really good idea, and you've heard people kind of mention this, think about having like a national registry somewhere. It's like, okay, what are the past indiscretions that officers have had, right? It's like, if they're able to look at how many times I done got pulled over for speeding, I'm working on that. Prayer works. But if they can see how many times I got pulled over for speeding, why can't I see how many times that they've been accused of racial profiling or something like that, right? So you can say what you want to say about police. I think there's things that we can do if you don't abolish them that we're not going to move forward. But the same conversation that we're having about police officers are the same conversations we should be having about every social institution in America that is in a hierarchical position, has a hierarchical structure, right? So police officers kill Black bodies. Professors kill Black spirits and Black aspirations. There is no difference. But everybody wants to turn the eye on police officers, but nobody wants to look at professors. So the comment is, who's policing police officers? Who's policing professors? The comment is, police have unbridled power. Police have unbridled power. Professors have unbridled power. Who is regulating our power? So miss me on that conversation about police only. Any social institution where there's a distribution of power, we should be having that same conversation.
Right. We need oversight.
Absolutely.
It was so great, Dr. Marsh. I thank you so much for the check-in. It was so good to see you virtually.
Yes, good to see you too. I am like literally in the middle of trying to revise the book. I'm trying to get the book done by my birthday. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a small step back from working out, because I've always worked out. That's what I did. You know, it's like we're telling a lot of people, it's like, okay, be sure and exercise, be sure and work out, be sure and get your cardio. I did that. I want to do stuff that's out of my normal. So I'm like, yeah, taking a break from working out is no big deal for me. But there's beauty in working out. And I think some people do need it, and you need to get out and get some sunshine. It is so easy to go out there and consume the sunshine. It is free.
It's free. That's free self-care. Step outside, some fresh air.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't cost a dime. So I'm like, everybody should go outside and get some fresh air throughout the day, a couple times throughout the day. But for me, I'm just trying to get my book done by my birthday. So I'm just trying, that's the main goal.
Yes. Okay. And so we are back with Dr. Kris Marsh, and we are going to talk about her upcoming book entitled The Love Jones Cohort, Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class. So Dr. Kris Marsh, what is this about? Why are you so passionate about the Black middle class, and what made you want to write this book?
So I've been excited about the Black middle class since I started graduate school way back in the dark ages. And what was really important to me is that the literature didn't seem to be on par with what we were seeing like in television and media. For example, you used to see like the Huxtables. That was like a doctor and a lawyer couple, right? And then you started to see this transition in television and the big screen away from these couples to like young Black professionals who aren't married and didn't have any children. So Love Jones is where you really start to see the emergence of this character type. So I decided to name the group that I studied the Love Jones Cohort. I am a demographer, so cohort is just a traditional demographic term. So I'm merging my experience in the media, what I see in the media in real life, with my training as a demographer. So it's called the Love Jones Cohort. And I'm looking at those that are single and living alone. A lot of scholarship doesn't really look at the Black middle class, or there's growing scholarship that is. A lot of people look at the Black poor. A lot of people that don't look like me study the Black poor. And I said to myself, I am not going to pimp the poor for my academic career. There is a Black middle class in Black America, and to understand all of Black America, you have to study the subgroups. And so I studied the Black middle class, smaller subgroup than the poor, but a very interesting and substantive subgroup. So I study the Black middle class. But March, I get interviews, I get hate mail, like, oh, Dr. Marsh, you're just anti-marriage, you're bad for the Black community. And I'm like, I'm a demographer. I'm telling you what the numbers are. There's just gonna be some Black women, if they wanna marry a Black man, it's just not gonna happen. It's just simply not gonna happen. Yeah. So do we stop the conversation there? Or do we redirect the conversation and say, what do we know about singles? How do they think about acquiring wealth when it's just them?
Just them.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to redirect and further the conversation, because I don't want it to be a period. I want it to be a comma. Like, what do we know?
Yeah. And not leaving them out of the conversation.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, this book is going to be great, guys. I can't wait.
I hope so. Please come and buy it as soon as it comes out. You can find it on all of my social media websites. All of my handles are Dr. Kris Marsh. That's DrKrisMarsh. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Perfect.
And LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Well, Dr. Marsh, thank you again for coming to be a guest on my channel, and good luck to you and your students as you guys integrate back somehow, virtually, I'm sure, a lot.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. See you soon.